Hi, my name is Thomas Hayat. I've kind of been dreading doing this video all day long because it takes a lot. In any case, today we're going to talk about time because everybody seems to have the same problem of I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. And nobody seems to even understand what time is. So let's start at the beginning. This is the Pythagoras wheel. And as you can see, Pythagoras separated time in two. Short time versus long time. So we could say, for example, the time it takes the moon to orbit the Earth versus the time it takes the Earth to orbit the sun in 12 months and in 12 lunar cycle. Lunar meaning moon. And he also aligned the alphabet with that. And that was back in the days of Pythagoras. The intercept theorem comes from his teacher named Thales, who came from modern-day Turkey. To try to keep things simple, I'll try to keep them in order. In mathematics, every circle follows the same rule. Okay? Whatever applies to pi is valid for a buoy, it is valid for a donut, it is valid for a plastic piece of wheel. A circle is a circle. So you can see the y-axis, which is vertical from the sky to the ground, and the x-axis, which is horizontal, just like the ocean to the land. Okay? The word perimeter, which is what the perimeter of a circle, in Greek is spelled this way, starting with the letter pi and ending with S. Okay? So here's how you have to know that Pythagoras and Thales both went to Egypt to learn what they knew. And here's how the Egyptians conceived of the cosmos. They first saw it as atum, which they named atum, who gave birth to the cosmos. They use the term atum because A is the first letter, and it's easier to refer this way rather than calling it God or Allah. We'll get to that later because it does make sense, but let's keep it things simple and universal for now. And so that divides in two concepts, which are actually Chinese, which means egocentrism versus geocentrism. The sun is at the center of the solar system, but the sun also orbits around the Milky Way galaxy. And for the sun to orbit around the Milky Way galaxy, that takes 26,000 years. Jupiter itself takes 12 years to go around the sun. So to count an era, I'm going to keep this. To count an era, we divide the time it takes the sun, 26,000 years, to go around the Milky Way galaxy, by the time it takes Jupiter in 12 years to go around the sun. And that gives us 2,166 years. And that is the length of an era, which in the Greek mythology, Hera was the wife of Zeus, which is the name for Jupiter. Okay? Jupiter is a natural gas giant, and gas giants have a huge magnetosphere. Jupiter has the strongest one in our solar system after the Sun. It's 20,000 times stronger than that of Earth. Saturn has a magnetosphere 10,000 times stronger than that of Earth, and then comes Uranus afterwards. Uranus is the coldest planet in our solar system, the seventh from the Sun. That's why the Greek called it Uranos with 7 letters. But the Romans were not very good at mathematics. So we have the hottest object in the center of our solar system, which governs Leo in Greek astrology, that is facing Uranos and its 13 rings, that takes 84 years to orbit. 84 divided by 12 years of Jupiter to orbit gives us 7. And 7 is the number of days we use to count a week, and 4 of them make a month, which is where the compass comes from. So if you look, you have 4 points, so 4 weeks, and within each week, if we look closer, each angle represents a day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I start a new week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, etc., etc. 4 weeks, I got a full turnaround, okay? And so that's the moon. The Earth itself, the Chinese developed a watch design called Siga, which you can see right here. And it's the globe that is actually, let me put it right side up. It's the globe that actually turns on itself, and the compass gives the hours. So you have Australia here, Africa here. You see the map, right? It's genius design because it really shows how the Earth, in 24 hours of turning on itself, follows the concept of the Greek zodiac of having 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night. All right? So we have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, which, as I said, is across from Aquarius, Virgo, Libra, which is the sign of Vladimir Putin, Scorpio, Joe Biden, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Jeff Bezos, Aquarius, Vladimir Zelensky, myself also, and Pisces. So, the thing is, that division of 12 that Jupiter follows is what the Chinese based their zodiac on. 1 year per sign. And it begins being recorded, the year, at the first moon in Aquarius. That's the relationship with the moon. But the moon itself is not what makes the Chinese zodiac. The Chinese zodiac has 1 year each, 12 sign, 12 years. Jupiter takes 12 years to orbit. That is what they're tracking. So, now I'm going to talk about a problem that hasn't been solved for 200 years or more. And it is this, it's called a palindrome. So I made it in color. If you look at it like this, it doesn't make much sense, right? You see Sator or Rotas or Opera, and you start putting colors to it, well, to you it still might not make very much sense. But if you start putting a compass next to that, then things start adding up. You see that arrow on top, which looks like an A? It is an A. You see that N that indicates north? It is north. You see that S that indicates south? It is south. Okay? So what this means is where the opera is, rotas is rotation. And if you reorganize the letters and bring the N up, and the T as well, switch it with it, you get Senate, which is actually the head of the Roman structure. And so with this is really the best computer in the world because it is a quantic computer that takes the unit circle of 360 degrees as well as the alphabet and overlaps it together. It doesn't give us all the alphabet, we have to write it down ourselves. That's where the homework bit comes in. So this thing, to show you how it links to the alphabet, I drew this. And this way it's easier because a picture helps with 1,000 words. So this is the compass that I drew here. And if we follow together, the A is on top, followed by N, and then S on for south, E for east, W for west. So why do languages change? Because the sun rises east when you're in Egypt. This is Africa's coast. Egypt is right here. The Sphinx is right here looking towards the rising sun, which then comes to noon, where it's right above, and then it sets in Capricorn behind it. So if you put your compass anywhere, the E, when you're in Spain, you call it España with an E. But if you're in England, Spain is south relative to you. So you'll start with an S and call it Spain. If you're in Africa, however, Spain is A relative to you, Andalusia, followed by an N. And the reason for that is because the alphabet was created based on the zodiac. So let me get to the right illustration. If you take the Greek zodiac and start at A, B, C, D, by the time you get to L, the 12th letter, you have to put M in Aries again, and so on and continue until you run out of letters. You do the same thing with the Chinese zodiac, starting their number 1 is the rat, okay, but it follows Jupiter, not the Earth around the Sun in 12 months like the Greek zodiac. This one follows Jupiter around the Sun. So same thing, same alphabet, and in the end you find out using an astrolabe that it lines up where when Jupiter is in Capricorn, it is the year of the rat. So that's how you know they lined up, just using Google. It's quite simple. And that came simply from using Pythagoras' introduction to this concept. It's the same truth for America, which Alaska is very, very top, and the most southern point is S, Sur en Español, and it was Spanish and Portuguese sailors that went through there. So that's why they wrote it the way they did, because things go based on the compass. So let me go next, I think, to this, because this is where it gets important. Uranus takes 84 years to orbit the Sun. Its 13 rings point towards the Earth every 42 years, okay? And so in 2028, it is due to do this again. And every 84 years, the energy emitted by the Sun, which takes 8 minutes to get to Earth, and 2 hours and 40 minutes to get to those rings, and 2 hours and 32 minutes to get back to Earth, to make up the difference. That extra surplus energy is what causes all the nervous breakdown for everybody and all that nonsensical. Now we're at the almost edge of a Third World War. 84 years ago, same position. It was in Uranus in Taurus. It was so perpendicular to its original position, pi over 2. It was the, what do you call it? Second World War. And 84 years, give or take, from that was the Civil War, the US Civil War. 84 years prior to that was Joe Brown taking the Harper's Ferry armament depot, and that's what historians think of as the beginning of the Civil War. 84 years before that was a Revolutionary War with the French kicking the English out of the Chesapeake Bay and all that. So there are those numbers which I just mentioned have a relationship, 8 and 5. Jupiter has 5 vortexes on the top, 8 in the south. That makes up 13. And as I said, Uranus has 13 rings. You add up those two numbers, you get 26, which is the orbit time of Mars, 26 months. And when you multiply 26 by 2, you get 52, which is the number of weeks we have in a year. Okay? So the problem is, in America, we tend to work with the Egyptian 12 standard system. Europe tends to work with a metric system. But they do join. And the thing is, when we don't learn each other's system, we end up with Hubble being half blind, costing us billions of dollars to send astronauts to fix it. So let's not do that again. Instead of segregating, which by the way, the definition of which in the dictionary is to keep people or things apart, which implies also knowledge. So when you teach mathematics in one building and you teach letters in a whole nother building way far, well, the result is all of us only know the relationship as A and 1 to be together on a bottle of steak sauce. So it's great for Outback Steakhouse on weekends, but that doesn't help us understand how things work out. So let me go next to, I might have to shift the angle of the camera and possibly make a new video. I don't know. Because I don't want to get you too confused. Okay, I think I got the right tool. Here's how the numbers actually connect to the compass with the name. It's not just the cities, it's also people. This is me. As you can see, Thomas, Taha, Hayat. So you can see the letters, 3 T's, 3 H's, 3 A's. Now, as I said, I combined the Greek zodiac wheel, which counts the hours of the day, with the Roman zodiac, which itself 26 letters track Mars. And I did that for the Greek zodiac with the Roman alphabet, so I'm tracking the Earth in 12 months going around, and I repeated the process using the 12 years of Jupiter. So this way I have 2 sets of alphabet that lined up plus the Greek alphabet with it, okay? And so here's what happens. This is my birth chart. I can't hold and pause both, but I'll try. Here. Okay. So if I hold this like that, okay, you will see that Jupiter, which is this blue dot over here, is in Aries. And I have the moon over here in Libra. So if I take my wheel, which is here like that, right, and I have Aries, and I put the cover, I find THA, one set of THA. Now, if I, without any cover, if I just look at here, I was born Sun in Aquarius. The Sun here, TH, Thomas Hayat. And then my governing planet, Uranus, was in Scorpio when I was born. Right here, Thomas Hayat. Elon Musk was born with Jupiter here, and that's why his name is Elon with an E. Okay? Same as Jeff Bezos is a Capricorn. 10th sign, 10th letter, G, followed by E, because E is the energy of the sun. And Mackenzie, his ex-wife and Aries, was 90 degrees relative to him. That's why it didn't last. It wasn't from lack of money, was it? So, from that, we can see how, I think I might have shown it, yeah, on here. If you look closely, this is Sparta. You see the coastline of Sparta, how sharp it is compared to the Roman coastline. This is a Roman sea. This would be more like a Herculaneum Greek sea. So Athens, if I take the letters that I just showed you on the wheel, which is behind me, where did I put it? Oh, here. If I look here at the Leo and the letters that can be found there, THEQ, I wrote them on this cap so that I don't have to carry too many things, right? EHQ. And so if I look at my compass here, which gives me an A and N, and I bring the sun to noon, I'll get ATHEN and then the S, Athens, which is north, right here, of Sparta, which starts with an S, SP, etc. The P comes from the second reference in Aries, in the second wrapping of the alphabet, which helps us make the reference to the North Star with an N, okay, that we call Polaris. Polaris, you get it now? Okay. So if you start understanding how things spell out, you understand that an A is opposite to a V. and the C is opposite to a D. So that's just as simple as it is. Everything is about orientation and direction. So if everybody is going to teach with volume of words and no sense of direction, no coherence, and segregating the discipline in one thing and having this very bad habit of dismissing everything, and I make a particular reference here to an instructor at PCC who is originally a geologist but teaches astronomy and spends half an hour on the first hour teaching all the young students, there is no proof behind it. Astrology is bullshit. I teach astronomy. I'll give you a little test to prove that astrology is bullshit. Here's the description of each sign. I took away the name of the sign. If you can't figure out which one it is, that proves that astrology is bullshit. That's the worst moment I've ever spent there. The name of that woman is Heidi Odman. Okay? And to be doing that, you would never test any student on any topic that you haven't taught yet. That is called an appeal to ignorance. And Capricorns are notorious for that. Okay? And earth signs in general. But Capricorns are really the most notorious for that. Dismissiveness of people is just belittlement. Okay? And it's often misperceived as racism, when in reality it's just ignorance. Ignorance, plain and flat out. So, 20 minutes is pretty long, and I don't want to extend on sideways, so I'll take a pause, take a breather, give you a breather, because it's a lot to take in, and I understand that. And then we'll introduce game time for Astropoly, which was suggested to me by... well, not suggested, but helped with my nephew. So hello Jean-Baptiste, thanks for all your input on board games and everything. And I'll see you for the board game part on the next following video. And you'll see it's very interesting. Thank you.